This is wild. Rich Paul had his hands in stopping a blockbuster trade between the Warriors and Lakers that would have paired recent gold medal teammates LeBron James with Stephen Curry. Unfortunately for the Lakers, it would have had LeBron ending up with Golden State. But that does beg the question about what the Lakers' path forward should be. What's good? I'm your host, Okechi Apakama, and this is Lakers Digest, coming at you with another video. And before we get into everything we have for you for today's video, guys, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get those Laker updates. Now, with that out the way, let's hop straight into this crazy story we have for you as Rich Paul scraps a trade idea. So, we got word of a recent report from Mark Stein that the Warriors and Lakers were engaged in trade talks, and then Rich Paul actually had a hand in stopping that. So this is what a little bit from that report, as Rich Paul was reportedly implored the Warriors and the Lakers to scrap the idea of trading LeBron James to the Warriors last season, largely because he wanted to insulate James from potential backlash over switching teams for the fourth time in his career. Now, this is very crazy, a very wild story, as obviously we just saw LeBron James and Stephen Curry playing together on Team USA, and they look great together. Obviously, they had great chemistry, and they obviously look like good friends on the court, and you can see it play out as they were just, hand in hand with each other, just on the same page, and they got the job done and won the gold medal. And that had a lot of people thinking, like, what could that possibly look like if it was in the NBA? Now, there was talks about that possibly happening, and I remember a word of that getting that towards the trade deadline, but that was quickly debunked. So there was more to that story that Mark Stein had, and so this is a little bit more. As he said, it was believed that the Lakers were reluctant to entertain a trade conversations with the Warriors before last February's trade deadline if James wanted them to seriously engage with Golden State on a potential deal. Yet, sources say that the reported talks between the teams at the time never got that far, in large part because James's agent, Rich Paul, was adamantly opposed to the idea of LeBron swapping Southern California for Northern California. Sources say Rich Paul implored both teams to scrap the concept despite owner-to-owner dialogue between Warriors Joe Lacob and the Lakers Jeannie Buss, and Green's determination to lobby James to push for relocation to the Bay Area, largely because he wanted to insulate James from the potential backlash of switching teams for the fourth time in his career. Now, initially, when I read that, I just see there's definitely a little bit more to the story there, and obviously that could play a very large part, as Rich Paul has been LeBron James' agent for quite some time now, and he has had some hands in some dealings to help facilitate LeBron James' career, but also facilitate things within the Lakers organization, because we saw it with getting like people like KCP those large deals, and then guys to come throughout the system. So I'm thinking of guys like Montrezl Harrell, who was a Clutch Sports agent, obviously Anthony Davis. So guys who have been Clutch with Rich Paul's Clutch Sports have made their way in the Lakers and some of their dealings. So that's why that's kind of been intertwined here and there. So with Rich Paul sort of stopping this deal, this kind of begs the questions for a couple of questions for me, as Rich Paul, he does have a little bit of a say, some of that leeway. Like I said, he has influenced some deals here and there, but also just the logistics of that trade. I don't really see that really being transpired or something like that happening for the Los Angeles Lakers. First and foremost, because I'm the type of person who's like, I don't truly understand trading your star player for the young players and the draft picks, mostly because those players and draft picks never usually amount to the player that you're trading away. So you're never going to receive equal value for what you're trading away. But you're just hoping to get the right assets to hopefully lead you into that next era. And the Lakers have never operated like that in any shape or form. So that's why initially when I heard this rumblings of this deal, I was kind of looking to the side about it, because the Lakers aren't that type of team to trade their star player in order to get young players and picks. And the only time they kind of did that in their recent history is when they traded Shaq, and that was mostly because of their issues, Kobe and Shaq, that they had on and off the court there. So they were to choose one, and they chose Kobe Bryant because he was the younger player, and they traded Shaq for some assets. And it still took the Lakers quite some time to really get back to where they were with their winning ways. And during that point, So fast forward to right now for the Los Angeles Lakers, and just to me, it just wouldn't make the sense because I don't know what that deal looks like. Because say if you were the Lakers and the Warriors trying to make this deal go down, and then if you're the Lakers trading LeBron James, you would want everything under the sun to sort of like match that sort of value. I really don't care that LeBron James is going into his 22nd season. He is still playing at an all NBA level, and those types of players don't really grow on trees. So, and it's also LeBron James, who is arguably considered one of the best players to play the game of basketball. So, a potential deal, like even if you were to add all of those young guys that the Warriors have, so like a Moody, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, you would still need salary filler to match James's salary. So you'd have to throw on big contracts, so like an Andrew Wiggins or something like that of that caliber. So to really help match the salary, and then you also have to have the sufficient picks for the Los Angeles Lakers that would really make sense for them in return. Now, like I said, I don't really understand that sentiment or that feeling. I mean, we saw it recently. So like when the New Orleans Pelicans traded Anthony Davis to us, to the Los Angeles Lakers, and people were like, "Oh, look at the haul that the Pelicans got with all these players, all these different guys that they got coming through." And the Lakers, meanwhile, won their championship back in 2020, and then since then, I don't think the Pelicans have gotten past the first round. And a lot to do with that, just what they've done with some of the players that they've had. They've obviously moved off some of the guys that they've traded from the Anthony Davis trade, but still, they're still trying to figure out what to do, especially at that big man position. Yes, they have Zion, but there's still a lot of things they're still working through, and that's because they traded the star player and they didn't get that star quality back. And that is sort of like my whole argument here, as why would the Lakers be doing this type of deal if you know you're not going to get the sort of compensation you're going to get back? So that leads me to my next point here, and this is a big one, as what is the Lakers' path forward? Because we have to really start thinking about that as just sort of like a Laker fan base, a Laker team, because we are at or closest to the end for LeBron James that we are to the middle or or the beginning, obviously, but like we are definitely closer to the end of his career. So we got to think about what happens post LeBron and what does that Laker team look like. And I am adamantly against trading a guy like LeBron James, even in the latter stages of his career. And just because it just doesn't make sense to me trading your top guy, and this is not just any guy, because this is a franchise-altering type of player, that guy that generally brings people into the seats, which is very important if you're the Lakers brand, and then also just a guy that is still good enough to be one of the leaders on your team, alongside if you have another high-level player, and that is Anthony Davis. So these guys are still good enough to get the job done. You just have to figure out the pieces around them. So I am just against that idea of trading LeBron James. Just even we do know there's a few years left, because they're trying to start this youth movement, and this is part of the reason why they brought in JJ Redick, because they're in the belief that the player development route is going to be the way to go for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially for the future. And that has to kind of be the mold for the Lakers, because they're not going to be in the same realm of like trying to get these big name free agents, because with some of the dealings that the NBA has done with things like the Supermax, and obviously helping keep teams for certain players for longer contracts and stuff like that, then that kind of negates the whole free agency. So you would have to learn how to draft well, how to really raise your prospects and really get them better to those NBA high-level contributors that everyone's always looking for. So for the Lakers, that is sort of their plan and what they're trying to do. That's why you see some of these younger guys that they're drafting, like a Maxwell Lewis, like a Jalen Hood-Schifino, like even a Bronny James, to hopefully grow and develop these players into NBA level type role players. And then you use the pool of Los Angeles Lakers to try to scoop up that next level star. And so that is the route that I see the Lakers taking, because that is sort of like the route they've always kind of taken. They haven't really been a team that really drafts and then replaces. The only time this kind of happened was a little bit back in the 90s, after Magic Johnson retired, because the Lakers had to retool suddenly. And then that's when they were getting these high-level draft players, so guys like an Eddie Jones, guys like a Nick Van Exel. So those type of players that really help them move into the next frontier. That's when they got Kobe and Shaq and some of those other guys. And so that's what helped bridge the gap between those two different eras. So that's gonna have to happen here these next couple of seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, they still got a shot right now with LeBron James and Anthony Davis playing at all NBA levels. They just need the guys around them to be up to par and to be up to snuff when it comes to these big bouts they have with some of these other teams in the Western Conference. But let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you agree that with me that the Lakers shouldn't trade a guy like LeBron James to the Golden State Warriors because you're not going to get that equal value back? Or are you on the other side of thinking that you think the Lakers should trade LeBron James and then hopefully get the assets back, retool around Anthony Davis, and then figure out what your next steps are going to be before LeBron James retires and makes that decision for himself? But let us know in the comments down below, and then also make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. There is about 79% of you guys who are not subscribed to the channel just yet, and if you guys want more of those Laker updates, you guys want to make sure you guys are subscribed to Lakers Digest. Now, that's going to be it for this video. I've been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.